let's read the lowest rated book on my TBR together. So I thought a really fun way to tackle my physical TBR would be to read the highest Goodreads rated and the lowest Goodreads rated, say that 10 times fast, book on my TBR each month. So the very first one, I think for the highest rated is Atmosphere at like 4.97 stars or something like that. But the lowest rated book is currently Liquid with 2.93 stars on Goodreads. I usually distrust Goodreads reviews, especially when it comes to literary fiction or anything that kind of borders that line of literary fiction, because they tend to have really bad reviews, even though that is my like preferred genre. So when I grabbed this, actually a friend lent it to me, I thought that I was going to love this book. So it's surprising to me that this was the lowest rated out of the pack. So we're going to sit here, we're going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you guys what I think. Okay, so I'm like 4 pages in, and there's already the word penetration. So I feel like that's why this is so low rated. Is it is like kind of immediately, I don't know, like pushing the boundaries. Now, some of the writing is good, like very well written. But yeah, let's keep going. Okay, so I made it like about 100 pages in so far. I don't understand at all why this is rated only 2.93 stars. I think it's just one of those things where some lit fic books, like the main character tends to be purposefully written in an unlikable fashion. And I can see where this character might be hard to connect to for some people. And so maybe like that's something people struggled with, and that's why it was like so low rated. One thing I will say is it does deal with like growing up as a Muslim in like a post 9/11 world. And I just think it might be racism. That's my kind of guess here, is that it's just like, this is a lit fic and people are racist. That's why I think it's 2.93 stars so far. But I'm only a third of the way through, so maybe something else will happen. I realize I haven't actually said what this book is about yet, and that'd probably be helpful. First 100 pages is about a girl who's trying to find the love of her life and decides she wants to marry rich. So she makes like an Excel sheet of potential suitors, and she goes on dating apps and like sets up this system for trying to find her rich husband. So that's what I kind of mean by like the narrator is a little bit unlikable, is that's just kind of a weird way to approach love. And that's why like the front cover is this Excel sheet, is because that's what she's doing. So 100 pages in, we're at like date 50-ish. Yeah, it literally says on this page, date 51. And so it's hysterical watching her go through these dates. Again, I think that I could make the argument, if I'm being like really nitpicky, about some of the metaphors being a little overdone. Like yeah. But that's kind of it so far. I had to flip the book around because this is where we get to see a copy of the Excel sheet. So okay, so I'm now like 200-ish pages in. I'm definitely gonna finish it tonight. It's been a pretty fast read so far. I think I only have like 100 pages left. But she has now gone from the United States to Tehran after a family emergency. And I don't know, I'm still very confused about the low star rating. I have loved this so far. We have a bisexual main character who's trying to marry rich. Like, if that's your type of book, then you're gonna love this book. I feel like the people who follow my account will hear that description and be like, oh yes, I must read this immediately. But her father is in the hospital now, and she's kind of, well, I'm not gonna tell you who she's kind of dating, spoilers. But it's very good. It's just kind of a, like, not coming of age, but just trying to figure out like your own identity and how you became who you are. And she's like struggling through dealing with her family and her upbringing. And I don't know, there's not a whole lot of like plot, like it's not very plot driven. But personally, I like a non-plot driven book. Like if it's a character driven and nothing really happens and we just like get to hear the inside of somebody's head for 300 pages, like I personally really like that in a book. I do understand why people don't love that type of writing. But I would still think that this should be like a 3.5 on Goodreads. Like it being under a 3 is criminal. That's my thought so far, is that this is just like criminally underrated. I wrote it down in my notes, but I didn't actually say it out loud. I think that I do know who the final like love person is going to be. I made that guess like early in the book, and I'm very anxious to find out if I'm correct. I think that I know who it is. But I mean, I guess that's the other thing I would say, is that like the marketing of this book, if people are trying to sell this as like a romance, it's definitely not a romance. Like this is literary fiction. It's literary fiction with a side of romance. It's not like your typical boy meets girl or girl meets girl, boy meets boy, and they fall in love, and the story is them falling in love. The plot doesn't really like move like that. So it's more about like finding out who you are and figuring out your own stuff. So yeah, I will say that if you're expecting a traditional romance, this is not it. Pets have been demanded. How do you say no to this face right here?
Hi, I know. Okay, all done. Thank you.
I was right. I'm still reading the last couple pages, but I was absolutely correct about who the end love is going to be. Yeah, that's it. I just needed to say out loud that I was right. I very much disagree with Goodreads. This was so heartwarming. I mean, it wasn't heartwarming for a lot of it, but the payoff was excellent. I can see why, if people picked this up expecting contemporary romance and got more of a literary fiction, they would be disappointed by that. Actually, let's just open the Goodreads reviews now. Oh, it's up to 2.94 as of this exact recording. It only has like 800 reviews, so I think just more people need to read it. Okay, let's look at the 1-star reviews. Let's see what people didn't like about it. Okay, so the very first one, the most like upvoted number 1 star is that there are a lot of complaints about how Book of the Month described it. So scrolling through the like 1-star ratings on Goodreads, I feel like I kind of know what the problem is with this book. So this was a Book of the Month pick. That's actually like where my friend got it from. And apparently Book of the Month described this as a highbrow romance. And people were very annoyed with that description of the book. It's a lot of people citing over and over that it was like hyped as highbrow, but like was more pretentious. And then a lot of people very disappointed in the fact that there's like not clear plot transitions. Again, that is something personally I don't dislike if that's the author's intention. It really, to me, sounds like this review is like, or these reviews are a result of what the book is trying to be and what the marketing said the book was. I think that if you like literary fiction, if you like a romance kind of literary fiction, you'll like this book. It's very well written. The writing kind of reminded me of Mona Awad. She writes long sentences, great vocabulary. So if you liked like Bunny, I think that you would like this book. It has the same air of like trying to be a commentary on literary pretentiousness, but I think it comes off maybe to a reader who's expecting a different kind of experience as the author being pretentious. But the author and the character are different people. So I think that this was just poorly marketed. That's going to be my guess, is that this was just poorly marketed. But I would love for you guys to tell me if you've read this book. Let me know in a comment. And if not, I would highly suggest picking it up. I think for me, I would rate this a solid 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I got through it really quickly. I've been sitting here like 4 hours. So it's definitely worth it. I think that this is a good one night kind of read. Yeah, so let me know in a comment if you've read it, and I will see you guys in the next one.